Good evening, my name is Jaden Hamill, and I'm an environmental health and safety specialist. And what I'm going to be doing this evening is I'm going to be showing you how to properly wear a North 7700 series half mask respirator. Now, a couple of misconceptions about respirators. This is actually an air purifying respirator. That means that it is purifying the air that you're breathing through some type of a filter media, like this one that I've got right here. That means that if I were to take this, let's say snorkeling, it's not going to work, right? I'm not going to be able to breathe through this. Those are supplied air respirators. Scuba divers, it's a supplied air respirator, not an air purifying respirator. So, that being said, I'll kind of go over the different parts and components of a respirator. So this main part here, the part that goes over your head, this is called the carriage. And then on the mask, you can see here, we have our inhalation valve, we have our exhalation valve, and these on either side are inhalation valves. So what happens when I have this on and I'm breathing, right? Air comes through here, through a filter media. I'll just throw one of these on so you can kind of get a little bit better visual. So there we have our filter media on. The air that I'm breathing comes through here, which is filtered by the filter itself, the filtering media, and then out through here, through my exhalation valve. Now you can see here that there is a little valve on the inside. I'll just take this off. And same with the inhalation valves. I might be able to get it to, you can see this little rubber valve right there. So what happens when I inhale, those little rubber flaps on the valves will open just slightly to allow that filtered air in that I'm inhaling, and this one stays closed. Suction pulls it in so that no air is coming in through the exhalation valve. Then when I breathe out, because of the position of the valves on the inside here, my breath forces those closed and opens this one and allows my breath to escape. And that's basically how a half mask or air purifying respirator works. Super simple. Like I said, these do come apart. They do need to be cleaned regularly. There's all kinds of nice little nooks and crannies and stuff in there where bacteria and all that kind of stuff can grow. So, it's a good idea to take your alcohol pad, get right into where your chin would go, right in here, right? You're going to have a lot of moisture and stuff from your breath build up in that area. So, good idea to get all around the inside of it with the pad. Once it's all apart, again, put it in some warm soapy water. Kind of hand wash everything, just kind of give everything a good rub down. Pull it out, let it air dry is probably the best way to dry off your respirator, and then you're good to go. You're good to put it all back together and use it for whatever the application that you're going to be using the respirator for. Talk a little bit about filters as I mess around with this. These here are what's called a P100 filter, which means that it will filter out dusts only. It won't filter out paint vapors or chlorine gases or anything like that. These are specifically for dusts. They do have cartridges for organic vapor, chlorine gas, oil vapors that may be in the air. They also make something called a Defender cartridge, and a Defender cartridge is kind of the cover everything type of cartridge, where it will defend against organic vapor, acid gases, oil residue, all that kind of stuff. The only thing it doesn't have is the little P100 guy for dusts. But you can get those with one kind of sitting over top of it, like a little sandwich almost. So that's a little bit about cartridges. Now, how to wear a respirator. I'm just going to loosen this up a little bit so I can show you how to adjust it. A lot of times people think that they can just take a respirator out of the box and slap it on and it's going to provide them some kind of protection. it won't. Respirators right out of the box come in a one-size-fits-nobody configuration, which means that you have to know how to properly put this on before you start your task that you need to wear the respirator for. So to start off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the respirator on, and I'm just going to let it sit and see how loose the respirator actually is. So it'll look something like this. And that's a pretty good fit. And you can see it was very loose, but it's the right size, and it kind of sits properly, or somewhat properly, on my face. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to take the bottom straps, these two guys here, and I'm going to put them around my neck. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to properly tighten the respirator onto your face, and then I'll explain what I did after I demonstrated. So here we go. Okay, you can see there what I did is when I tightened the straps, I didn't just grab the straps and pull this side and pull this side and pull this side and whatever. That's the very last thing that you should do when you're putting on a respirator. If you do it that way, what's going to happen is you're going to jerk the mask from side to side, and it's not going to sit evenly on your face. One side's going to be tighter than the other, and it's going to kind of pull the mask to one side, and it's not going to fit properly. So what you're going to do, like I showed, demonstrated just a couple seconds ago, is you grab those two tabs at the top and you pull them straight back. You almost want to follow the straps that are going up beside your head. So just kind of follow those straight back. Like I said, don't pull them out, because that'll move the respirator off your face and it might come back down and sit awkwardly. So pull them straight back, and same with the bottom ones, pull that one straight back. You should generally only have to pull the straps back maybe half an inch at the most. That one, I had to pull the top ones back quite a bit because I had loosened it all the way. But generally, that's kind of the rule of thumb that you follow. So, the respirator's on. Now you need to make sure that it's sealed properly. The way we do that in two different tests that you can do every time you take the respirator on and off. And it's called a positive and a negative fit test. So, the first one I'm going to show you is what's called a negative fit test. And that's where I'm going to use the heel of my hand, right here, this part under your thumb, on both hands. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the inhalation valves. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to suck in, not hard, but I'm just going to kind of take a breath in, and it should suck the mask onto my face. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my breath, and if the mask stays stuck to my face without inflating again, then that means that there's a proper seal, and then you can carry on. The second one, it's a little bit harder to do, is called a positive pressure check. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take, again, the heel of my hand, only this time I'm going to cover the exhalation valve. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slightly exhale, just a little bit, because if I exhale as hard as I can, I'm just going to force air on the outside of the mask, and it's not going to tell me if it fits properly or not. But I'm just going to slightly fill the mask with my breath, and you should feel the mask inflate just slightly. Hold your breath, and if the mask doesn't deflate, then it means that you have a proper seal. So I'll go ahead and I'm just going to show you now what that looks like. Perfect, the mask fits just the way that it should. Now, if you start to feel air escaping, could be a couple things. Either the mask isn't tight enough, or if generally with men, maybe we've got a little bit of a 5 o'clock shadow or a beard, even a mustache. I know November just passed, so a lot of gentlemen now do have mustaches, but generally you should be clean shaven when wearing a respirator. That's the only real way to ensure that the respirator is sitting properly on your face and that you're getting a proper seal. So, let's say that we're sitting down, I'm showing you how to wear this, you do your positive, your negative pressure check, everything works out. I still want to make sure that the mask fits properly. So I have two different options at my disposal. I can use what's called Bitrex, or I can use an irritant smoke tube. And what those are those are ways for me to check, again, to make sure that the mask is fitting properly as the fit tester. Bitrex is a really long process to use, and it's unpleasant for both the person and for the tester. What it entails is I have to check with a little vial or a little puffer tube with a bitter solution in it, and basically the person opens their mouth and I kind of spritz a little bit in, and if the person tells me they can taste bitter, then what I do is I put the respirator on, put a hood over their head, put a stronger solution inside the hood, and I just keep puffing and filling the hood with this bitter solution. If the person says that they can't taste any bitter, then it means the respirator is fitting properly. Now, I don't really like that. I don't know about you, I don't like bitter taste in my mouth, and I don't think a whole lot of people do either. Plus, it's very time consuming. It takes about 20 minutes to do it properly. And I just, I've got stuff to do, and you've got stuff to do. So what I like to do is I like to use an irritant smoke tube. What that is it's just a little tube with a little bulb on the end of it, and it puffs little smoke. And the chemical that is actually coming out of the end of the tube will actually make a person cough if they inhale it. So what I do is I'll put the respirator on a person and I'll have them close their eyes so that they can't see me when I'm actually puffing the smoke. And then what I'll have them do is I'll have them turn their head from side to side like this while they're wearing the respirator. Then I'll have them do it up and down. And all the while I'll be puffing smoke all around the seams of the respirator. What I'll then have them do is count backwards from 10 and puff around. The mask should still fit while a person is talking regularly. And then what I'll do is I'll have them turn their head again and up and down. And then that's it. And if the person doesn't cough, sometimes I'll have the person's whole face engulfed in smoke. Sometimes there'll just be little puffs around, usually the corners here are or around here are hard to fit. Also the top of the nose is another hard one. So I'll put puffs of smoke in around there. And if the person doesn't cough, then I know the respirator fits. And it's also a great way that if you have somebody who you think might be fibbing, that they can, taste bitter or whatever the case is. With this, there's no fibbing the test. You can't, and if somebody coughs, I know if I've actually sprayed any smoke or not. I've had that happen a couple of times where someone will cough and I didn't even puff any smoke, so I know the person's faking. Again, I'm a health and safety guy. I want to make sure that you're protected while you're wearing a piece of equipment. And finally, actually no, that is it. That covers everything pretty much. So yeah, I hope you found this very informative, and I hope that it kind of helped you to decide maybe on this brand of respirator or the type of respirator that applies to your workplace. Thank you for your time.